Hello, welcome back. How's it going? I'm doing great because it's finally like 50 degrees out here. It feels like spring. I just want to get outside because the sun is out, and I'm excited. I was able to like do a workout outside in the sun. That was fun. But I'm excited that I finally was able to put all this stuff that I was working on this expansion into one video, and I think I've got it. I'm the kind of person that likes to just sit and work and never talk about it, so for me to like be doing this, it's pretty cool. So thank you to everyone who has backed the fundraiser already. I think there's 12 days left and I'm at like $1,900. I think it's pretty amazing. I'm not quite at my main goal. And also thank you to everyone who's on my Patreon, because I never ever shout out my patrons, but I probably should more. If you don't know me, I'm Daniel. I'm the maker of this game, Sequence Storm. It's a PC rhythm game. It's free to play on Steam, and there'll be a link to it below, so you can just download and play. And everything I talk about in this video is going to be made available to backers of the Indiegogo or anyone on my Patreon who's given me, in total, over $25. So you can play this yourself and test it if you like. Just check those options out. So what I'm talking about today is the design for the next expansion for the game. Now this is Sequence Storm. It's a typical rhythm. There's a couple different ways to play it. There's arcade mode, which is typical rhythm game. It's got tracks, difficulties you can choose. I'll just like autoplay something. It's a 9-key game. It's like a vertically scrolling type game. It's got, leaderboards, editor, all that stuff. It also has a mission mode, which adds a bunch of like racing mechanics. As you have a little rig here, and you can customize it. There's upgrades. There's a whole storyline. Let's look at that. Oh, I've got to. Oh no! Here we are. So this is the mission mode. I'm gonna cheat through literally. So there's a whole grid of missions, and each one is a different track. As you see, these ones are tutorials. Anyway, that's Sequence Storm. So I'm creating a new campaign. It's called Olican Dive. Olican Biodynamics is the name of a corporation in the game. It's like a kind of a cyberpunk type story. The expansion is going to have new tracks, and I want to add new story, but I don't want to do it in a different way. The last campaign had just added a few of these missions. The last campaign, Jolly's Raceway, and I want to do something totally different. So for this new campaign, it's a whole new campaign, and what it's going to do, I'm designing it like a roguelike. So what is a roguelike? It's a game that relies on like random generation of gameplay, and also they're normally like a hardcore type of game where you only have one life, and if you die, then you have to start all over. And usually in these types of games, the more you play, the more you learn about the game, and the further you can get. So normally they're really like unfair at the start when you don't know anything about the game. So a roguelike is not a game genre by itself. It's just a style of game design is what it's become. Something that a lot of different games use. So there's different kinds of roguelikes I find. There's like the really hardcore ones. Like a well-known one is The Binding of Isaac, and that's like a top-down action adventure. But in that game, it's really hardcore. You can only... If you die, you have to start over. You don't really keep anything except for the experience that you've gained through playing, right? Except for maybe some unlockable characters and stuff. And then there's other games most people call them roguelites, where they pretend to be kind of hardcore, but like you keep a lot of stuff. So one of those games is Rogue Legacy. And in this game, each character you only get one chance with, but you get infinite numbers of characters. Every time you start, you get to choose a new character. Oh, I don't like any of these. Oh, this one. But this whole grid of upgrades that we're looking at, you get to keep all this. You don't lose anything when you die. So and also all the equipment that you have here. So they call it a roguelite because it's the hardcore element is kind of gone. You get to keep all this progress that you make. So I'm kind of going more in that direction. So how is it going to work in Sequence Storm? Well, I've got this whole mission grid, and each mission node is randomly generated, and every one of these mission nodes has a let me think, a different mission type, and I'm coming up with a bunch of new mission types. So there's also, I'll go into these first. The mission type, there's random modifiers, there's random bonus objectives, and that's about it. But so each one of these nodes, has a random track. I think I'm getting off track. Yeah, a random track. I'll turn the audio on. So I don't want to play that one. I just want to show you one of these. So here's a mission where, well, let me talk about how I design these. I'm trying to come up with mission ideas that go well with the theme, that we're kind of hacking into this like network of a corporation. So this mission, for instance, like it's like we're in like a flaw, we're going through like a filter, and it's trying to like filter us out. So what happens in this mission is every time you miss a note, like you fail a section, it splits the track into 5 sections. And then the modifier is boost power drain, so I lose boost power over time. I could probably show you better than I can tell you. So if I miss a note, I won't be able to make it through these gates that are going to show up. I chose a slow song, so the first one's going to show up in a while. So there's a checkpoint, we made it through. But if I miss a note or a couple, let's pretend to be struggling a bit, then we won't make it through the next filter, and it will damage us. Oops, I almost died. So anyway, that's just one mission idea, and that's a little preview of how the game works. But so there's the mission type. Also, each node has a random track. And there's also the random modifiers. Maybe we'll find a different one. So here's a mission where you have to like keep your speed up. It's one of the racing mechanics in the game. This one has a modifier called boost feedback. So if I use my boost, it'll actually damage me. I'll come and show that. Oh, missed a note. So if I boost, it damages me. And on this one, if I'm not going fast enough, I was, but the filters will damage me. Anyway, so I'm trying to think of different mission ideas. Like the goal of these different mission ideas is I want them to fit the story. I want them to be things that I have never done before in any of the other, like the old campaign. Also, I'm trying to come up with objectives that aren't just like play the game well and you win. So I'm trying to come up with interesting mechanics that, you know, they take advantage of all the different mechanics in Sequence Storm, of which there's a whole bunch. The racing is a lot more complicated than most, you know, rhythm games. And it will also just, you know, exercise the player's skills. And also, to fit like the roguelike theme, I want these to be things that will be challenging until you get to know how to do them. So this game will probably like kill players a lot early on until they learn how to handle each of the different types of missions. And I want to have a whole lot. I only have I think 3 right now, but I want to have like 20, you know, a whole bunch of different random missions. So each one of these nodes also has a random modifier, and that's something that affects how the mission plays. So there's health drain, power drain, there's exploding notes, so when you miss a note it does like double the damage. There's the boost feedback, which damages you when you boost. There's also like going to be hyper feedback, which damages you when you use hyper. There's a corrupted rhythm one, which adds a bunch of like random spam notes. There'll be other ones like if you miss notes, it'll cost you credits, or maybe even like boosting or hypering will cost you currencies. I think that would be fun. And then there's random bonus objectives. Again, here I'm trying to think of like things I've never thought of before. So some of them are like, beat the mission without boosting or without using hyper, or don't miss a note for a certain amount of time, or stay above a certain speed at a certain amount of time. So there's a random track, a random mission objective, random modifiers, and a random bonus objective. Every single mission is going to be completely different, and this whole tree of missions is like randomly generated each time. So how does the player kind of navigate through the game? Well, you'll start with no upgrades at all, and so it'll be pretty challenging. You'll feel kind of weak. I want the player to feel like they don't have any resources. And I'll be able to explain that in the story, I think, why you lose all your upgrades. And the player, you'll probably die a lot, but anyway, when you die, this entire mission grid is going to reset. Just like, that's kind of a hard... You'll keep all your credits and equipment, but the whole grid is going to reset. You'll have to kind of start over. And I kind of want to design it so that... Let me show you the whole thing. So the grid that it generates is quite large right now. I don't know what size it's going to be ultimately, but there's a whole lot of nodes, and I want to design it so that potentially you could do like a no-death run of the entire thing, because that's something that you can do in a lot of games, like Rogue Legacy. It's really difficult, apparently, but you can do it, which means playing through the whole game with like no upgrades at all. So I'm going to put, as far as how the game progresses, as you like keep playing and earning stuff, you're going to unlock items, upgrades. You're going to upgrade your ship. I want you to be able to upgrade the grid itself, like increase the difficulty overall for more rewards, or just invest in something that gives you more credits for completing missions, stuff like that. And then I'm going to put bosses. The expansion is going to come with new tracks, and I'm going to use those ones as bosses that I'm going to put around the grid. And I think you'll be able to kind of eventually find your way through to like kind of figure out where the bosses are as you play. There's a lot of stuff I have to like still decide as far as how the big, the game loop goes, but this is kind of the general idea. This, like I said, this is quite big. I think this whole grid would take, well, I know it would take like 4 hours to complete all of these. Anyway, so I might make it smaller, or just give the player some way of knowing like where they're trying to go. Or maybe you can unlock like shortcuts to go deeper in, so once you've gotten to a certain point, you don't have to start completely over. We'll see. So the story for the campaign, I'm not a writer, and so like for the last campaign, Jelly's Raceway, I had to basically steal ideas. I mean, I think everyone does that, but I need to do it especially because I'm not a good writer. So I just look at classic literature and see like, okay, it's kind of ripe for the picking. So like for the last expansion, I don't know. Can you people tell like what story I stole from? I wonder. I don't know. Comment below. Anyway, But for this one, I found a story that I really like. It's kind of like, what is the word? The word for, it's like a Hawaiian type of, the whole vibe of the expansion is kind of Hawaiian, so I found this like Hawaiian folklore story I kind of want to use, but I want to do it properly and make sure I'm not just like stealing ideas, so I need to like read up about it a lot and see what I can learn, so I'm not just like cramming references in for no reason without knowing about them. Mechanically, how the story is going to work is that each of the different mission types will have some story behind it. So for, if there's 20 different mission types, you'll be able to unlock 20 different parts of the story. And then also, like every time you beat one of the bosses, that'll also progress, the main storyline. So I think it'll work pretty good. I'll be able to put quite a lot of background info. And this corporation that we're like hacking into, they develop what's the word? Like human augmentation type stuff, and they do all kinds of nasty stuff. So I think there's a lot of cool details I can reveal in the story, if I can. But the hard part about the story is coming up with all these details. So wish me luck. I think that's about it. So yeah, the player will complete missions. If you die, you'll kind of have to restart, but you'll get to keep items and equipment. I think that's about it. But let me know what you think. I don't know. This is the whole thing. But this is part of the fundraiser that I'll link below. And if you want to be one of the testers, you'll see the tier on there for beta access. So I think it's going to be fun. I think the people who are already testing it seem to really enjoy it, and it's only going to get better, right? So anyway, thank you for watching. This was fun. Check out the Patreon, check out the Indiegogo, and check out the game. All three will be linked below. Anyway, bye.